प्रसिद्ध नेपालियों ने जेएनयू से पीएचडी किया है प्रधानमंत्री सहित, वैसे ही उद्धव जी ने भी जेएनयू से पीएचडी किया है और अभी काठमांडू की एक यूनिवर्सिटी में रिसर्च और वो गाइड कर रहे हैं। आज की कार्रवाई हम अंग्रेज़ी में ही करेंगे क्योंकि उद्धव जी ने नोट्स अंग्रेज़ी में लिए हैं और हम हमारे चेयर्स रिमार्क्स जो हैं वो जनरल विनोद सहगल जो हैं हमारी जब भी आप दिल्ली में होते हैं और समय होता है तो हमारी हर मीटिंग में आते हैं और ऑल्टरनेटिव विजन और गवर्नेंस को लोकोन्मुखी बनाने में उनका बहुत चिंतन है, बहुत किताबें हैं और उसमें इकोलॉजिकल कंसर्न्स को भी कैसे वीव करना है उस पर भी उनकी एक पूरी किताब आज से शायद 15 बरस पहले आ गई थी लगभग। कब थी वो? 1998, 15 से भी ज़्यादा, 15 के वो तो लेकिन वो इतनी उनकी मांग रहती है तमाम ग्रुप्स में कि हम लोग अपने जो सैडेड और आपका जो फाउंडेशन है उसके बीच में कोई औपचारिक और साझा कुछ प्रोग्राम बने, ऐसी मेरी ओर से इच्छा रही है और मैंने जनरल साहब से चेक भी नहीं किया है कि उनकी भी ऐसी इच्छा है कि नहीं, लेकिन उनका मार्गदर्शन और हर बैठक में वो आते हैं तो मान के चलता हूँ। और आज की बैठक की सूचना तो हमने सब दी थी पर संडे सुबह और आमतौर से जैसे सब फोन्स किए जाते हैं इस बार हमने जानबूझ के नहीं किए। उसकी वजह ये थी कि we wanted to understand the dead end of Nepal in an informal manner where in a kind of mass gathering and in a public lot of things I tend to say I should not be saying regarding another country and about their leadership and what all is happening there. And Uddhav has also been very forthright in his columns in Nepali and English on the dead end and even on issues which are considered as sacred cow or because of the populism in Nepal have become very simple issues like the age-old relation between the people of India and people of Nepal has been made very complicated. But I don't want to preempt or influence what he is going to say today. So I'll just straight away, we have worked together, we still work together. He's technically I don't know, but he's the SADED in Nepal now, which is in India it's not a registered entity, South Asian Dialogues on Ecological Democracy, but Nepal it's a legal entity and he's the boss there and his better half is the chief functionary in this organization and they not only intervene through media inputs, they also hold regular meetings. Maybe he can start with his own introduction briefly and said it this work. Do we have, because there are not very many people, quick round of this introduction? So I am Vijay Pratap, I should have said it in the beginning. So 2 minutes से ज़्यादा इंट्रोडक्शन वाला हिस्सा आप भी नहीं रखेगा और बाकी लोग भी 3-4 वाक्यों से ज़्यादा।
मैं उत्तर पैकेज हूँ, जैसे विजय जी ने बोला मैं नेपाल से तो हूँ, लेकिन अभी इस समय भी मुझे लग रहा है कि आई एम स्टिल इन दिल्ली. दैट इज व्हाई व्हाइल आई वाज इनवाइटेड इन कलकत्ता for a round table on Indo-Nepal region. I just wrote to Vijay that I wanted to come Delhi as well while going back to Nepal. तो एक भी रात हमको मिले तो हम दिल्ली आना चाहते हैं. Kind of, क्योंकि I have spent couple of years, almost 6 years over there. And now, since May this year, I started teaching teaching at the School of Social Sciences in Kathmandu University. And while teaching, I have opportunity to supervise two of the students. They are also working on migration. That is also kind of interesting topic. As far as Saturday Nepal is concerned, yes, we often arrange meeting, but neither in the capital. We try to avoid meeting in capital. We try to attend meeting in capital. Once we have to organize, we go up to the grassroots level, not even this panchayat level, but to a small village. We choose a small village and attend meeting, so that we try to, in a way, fulfill this rural-urban gap. That is what Nepal Secretary Program is now. Thank you very much. I will talk later on more.
सबको प्रणाम. I am Sai Baba.
सुमन उत्तर प्रदेश से जी के साथ सही मंचों पर साझा सैडेट के साथ जुड़ के भी कुछ काम करने कह रहे थे, तो कल के दिन उनका क्या करते हैं.
मेरा नाम रेखा कुमारी है. मैं बिहार के रहने वाली हूँ और दिल्ली में सैडेट से जुड़कर प्रवासी जनमंच के बीच काम करती हूँ. गाँव से जो लोग पलायन करके दिल्ली आए, दिल्ली में आने के बाद उनकी क्या क्या समस्या है उसको.
मेरा नाम पदम बहादुर थापा है. मैं नेपाल से हूँ और अभी यहाँ सैडेट से संबंधित हूँ.
जब सुबह सुबह इतना धीमा बोले कैसे चलेगा.
जी मेरा नाम आशुतोष पांडे है.
ऐसे बोलेगा तो भट्टा ही बैठ जाएगा सर.
मेरा नाम आशुतोष पांडे.
आगे आ जाइए, थोड़ा ऊंचा बोलिए.
मेरा नाम आशुतोष पांडे है सर. मैं बिहार से हूँ. दिशा एक प्रयास से आया हूँ. दिशा एक प्रयास सर गवर्नमेंट के काफ़ी प्रोजेक्ट्स पे वर्क करती है. अभी रिसेंटली मुझे चाइल्ड लाइन का एक प्रोजेक्ट मिला है, उस पर काम कर रही है.
जी आप इधर आ जाइए, अपनी नोटबुक ले.
Hello, my name is Nikos Targotan and I'm from Finland, working here with and sometimes also for SADET as a research fellow and based in Helsinki University, working on issues on modernity and also related to Gandhi.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kuldeep Kumar. I completed my PhD from Jawaharlal Nehru University in 2009. Right now I am a
तो
postdoctoral
मेरे
fellow.
को भी बताइए, जनरल सहगल का इंटरेस्ट है इस टॉपिक.
And US policy towards Pakistan, 1980 to 88, Ronald Reagan era. And I joined Vijay Pratap sir last year, and continuously I learned a lot. I missed. Why not I joined Vijay Pratap sir? Before when I joined JNU in 2001, so it's my biggest mistake. Why not I met him earlier?
I am Shomal Datta. I am with a people science campaign called Bharat Jan Vigyan Yatra. And also there are collectives working on energy, climate justice, ecological justice issues beyond Copenhagen, and there are India climate justice platforms. I am part of the founding groups. And I, for the last 7-8 years, I work mostly with grassroots movements, and that too supporting and working with resistance movements.
Vinod Sehgal, I retired from the army 17 years ago.
दोस्तों अब शुरू कर रहे हैं. उद्धव स्टेट विदाउट एनी डिफेंस.
Thank you, Vijayji, and thank you, Sehgal sir. It is a meeting, that is why I don't think that I have to speak more, but I think I should give kind of general introduction what is happening over there. For me, I'm not that much enthusiastic to speak on Nepal. I feel kind of hesitation because we used to speak on Nepal with a very proud manner 2-3 years back, because we succeeded kind of people's movement in 2006, and we had kind of ambitious plans. For example, even it was recognized by the world, saying that it is the unique revolution in 2011 in terms of Nepalese participation, in terms of our agenda, this and that. Out of that, one was, you see, the outlay of the Nepali monarchy. We are having 24 years old monarchy, and along with this 2006 People's Revolution, we compared this monarchy to go out. That was one big achievement for democracy struggle. And second, we were having this Maoist People's War, quote unquote. They were for People's Republic. And eventually, along with other democratic parties, they also realized and tried to be part of this democracy, radical democracy movement. That was another achievement. That is why we were very much excited to see kind of institutionalizing process along with that successful revolution. And we went for Constituent Assembly election in 2008, April, and that Constituent Assembly was for the first time in Nepal. Obviously it was the brilliant example for each and every democracy in the world. Kind of inclusive order, composition this Constituent Assembly had, I don't think that it was there either in India or elsewhere in the world. Why I am talking so is, you see, for the first time in Nepal, we had almost 9% Dalits, more than 33% women, and obviously almost proportional representation of all minority groups. That is why, in a way, that was very inclusive. That is why we are quite hopeful to bring very, very radical democracy and to institutionalize whatever people's aspiration we are having during and after that revolution. That is why, but today I would say that we couldn't make substantive change till today. Along with our Constituent Assembly passed away, I use this passed away because neither it was dissolved, because there was no provision to dissolve. Only Constitution had a provision that it was made for 2 years, and parties extended its tenure for 5 times and made it its tenure up to 4 years. Then onwards there was no consensus. Eventually it had to go. No one was willing to extend it. That is why it was not dissolved, but it was dead. Dead. That is why I use this term, passed away. Along with that event, you see, today it is very difficult for us. We just went back around the discussion which we used to have around 2005-2006. What we are debating today, whether to have Constituent Assembly. If so, when? What would be the electoral process? How many members would be there? Whether it would be mixed electoral system, or we would opt this first past the post, whatever is there in India. These are the debates round in the table in Nepal today. So, in a way, we have missed opportunity, at least for 7 years. And if I recall this Loya and B.P. Koirala, our revolutionary leader and first elected Prime Minister, had a long conversation about Nepal's political change in the 1950s. And Loya used to suggest B.P. Koirala, you see, whatever change you want to make, it has to be it has to be done along with this transition. once you succeeded this movement, if you start right away, then it would be very easy. If you prolong this transition, it would be very difficult for you because then opponent have chance to regroup it. I mean, regroup and go against this thing. That is why even if that is why I just link that conversation, and I would argue saying that it won't be that much easier even if we try to have consensus in the future and go for constituent assembly and this and that. That is why I mentioned that I am kind of hesitant to talk about Nepal's progressive agenda. But I don't think that we have other alternative as well, because we have to push for democracy movement, we have to push parties to go for next election, we have to push parties to bring social change and etc. But what has happened is again you see, unless you have this people's support, even parties won't do much. And the kind of situation I have elaborated within these 7 years made people frustrated, because as narrated earlier, the government after that revolution could not do much for the people. All parties, whoever were in the government after that change, tried to buy time, saying that, oh, we are in transition, and once, if elaborate in detail, you see, once they were succeeded, that institution of monarchy was put in coma. In a way, it was suspended. Then parties started arguing, saying that if monarchy is gone, then everything would be all right. Wait for a while. Then we had constituent assembly election. Again, what they say, once constitution comes, then that would be all right. We'll start our this pro-people agenda. We'll start whatever deliberation we have to make for people. And now, once this constituent assembly is dead, again, parties are arguing, saying that, oh, let's have the constituent assembly election again. So kind of this time buying, this propaganda parties are having. That is why people have kind of have been kind of frustrated by these political parties. So it will again be very difficult for parties to gain that much support. Whatever, at least, parties means those who are for this social democracy, radical democracy. And along with that, even parties try to shift their agenda. Firstly, they didn't implement whatever they promised earlier. Secondly, during this time period, they have changed their agenda as well. For example, Maoist, which was talking about this People's Republic, now it has shifted to this capitalist revolution. From the very recent General Convention of the Maoists, they have said that this is not reality to go for this people's democracy. That is why we want to go for this capitalist revolution. In a way, leaving this people's revolution agenda was good for radical democracy, because it had kind of inbuilt characteristic of armed revolution, this and that. That is why we also push Maoists to leave it. In a way, that is good. But I don't know whether it is good to go for this capitalist revolution in Nepal. While doing so, what they are doing, this Maoist is doing is, you see, that also has started kind of democracy that is called this corporate-driven democracy kind of thing. And if you follow a couple of programs by the Maoist government, Maoist-led government, it is very, very urban-centric. It is very, very elite-centric. and it has nothing to do with common people, common people's aspiration, radical thing, and etc. For example, recently this Baburam Bhattarai, he has increased diesel price and decreased petrol price. You can imagine who would be the most sufferer. And again, he during his this regime, there was kind of scarcity of this fertilizer for farmers. No fertilizer was available. Only in the black market fertilizer was available. Because in a way he promised to give subsidy to the fertilizer in budget, but he couldn't allocate that budget. So in a way it was government program but without budget. That is how government couldn't import that fertilizer, and this farmers had to buy from this black market, and as a result neither farmers could get kind of quality fertilizer nor they could get in a reasonable rate. So that is one case. And again I have mentioned you can relate what kind of interest this Baburam Bhattarai government has to increase diesel price and to decrease petrol price. He just wanted to pamper this Kathmandu central elites so that they won't go against his very agenda. And that is all about Maoists. If you talk about other parties, for example, there was kind of consensus during this Jana Andolan 2006 to have this inclusive democracy. That means sort of affirmative action policy for all and each and every marginalized groups, sort of pro-democracy policies, for example, subsidy to farmers, this and that, and also federalism was another component to empower regional diversity, to empower marginalized communities, etc. But due to kind of hassle these parties had to face during couple of years, along with this Constituent Assembly, even UML Congress, those who are in principle socialist democrat, but at least they are arguing for this democracy, at least formal democracy. They are also trying to avoid this inclusive agenda. For example, federalism. They are very reluctant to subscribe this very agenda. Even for inclusion, this reservation, they have kind of anxiety whether to go or not. That is why, in a way, we are. I wonder whether we can have this kind of inclusive Constituent Assembly in the future. I wonder whether we could introduce kind of inclusive democracy along with a new constitution, because they may lose their support as well, because they have done very less thing to the people. That is why each and every party, right from Maoist to Madhesi, this another faction of the present government, they don't feel secured for the next election. They are kind of hesitant. That is why they try to avoid this election anyway. That is why we don't have that much very bright scenario over there. But as I mentioned, being this citizen of Nepal and being a friend of Nepal and being a friend of this radical democracy, I think we should push forward to the parties. We should engage with the people. We should engage with the friends. We should engage with the parties to bring new discourse, to strengthen the discourse of radical democracy and to go for this radical democracy in the future as well. That is what is our motto, and I think even this meeting's motto is that. That is why I just gave a kind of overview of current Nepal, and if there is some queries and etc., it would be very nice, because it is discussion and you can make your argument, you can have your queries and etc. And if I feel like I should respond, then I can respond in the future. Thank you.
we go into observations, we ask other questions because he has given the overview. But in that, if we have any queries, for example, just as an example, you say even on what kind of inclusiveness will be there in the new parliament and new constituent assembly. You mean the reservation for Dalits and women and Janjatis, even that is being questioned and the character will be different? So you can, yeah, you can take 3 questions at
हिंदी बोल दी सबको ही आता है हिंदी भी बेटर हिंदी बोल दीजिए
अंग्रेज बोलिए नहीं
दोनों चल रही है, हिंदी इंग्लिश।
जो जिसको सुविधा हो।
My
इंटरनेशनल भी तो भेजना ना, यूएस में डेमोक्रेट्स सिर्फ माओइस्टों को भेजते हैं आप लोग नेपाल की रिप्रेजेंट करने, तो प्रैक्टिस अंग्रेजी होगी तो अच्छा है समझ।
My question is, I was listening to your presentation. Whatever we understand from whatever we are reading in the media, more or less a similar picture, looking at both sides. But my question is, since you painted a picture that the present setup is trying to even scuttle or stall some of the what you presented to be progressive and in a case of, I'm not saying only dynamics of making a republic, but a dynamic republic. You mentioned radical republic. But the things that you mentioned, some of the things like fertilizer subsidy, like diesel and petrol price, if you look a little deeper, giving fertilizer subsidy to import fertilizers or enable fertilizer imports, keeping the diesel petrol economies vibrant, all these are very clearly capitalist developments. These do not have an alternative vision of how people can develop, particularly for countries like Nepal, countries like Bangladesh. So this is what is happening in terms of what people present, or these present setups are presenting as progressive policies, but these all support the capitalist development that our countries are going through. And in this kind of development, it will be the corporates which will be calling the shots. That's very clear. So are there, I'm not saying are there groups, are there works ongoing in Nepal which are trying to develop a vision, I will not call an alternative vision, but which can be a paradigm for a real progressive, inclusive, radical democracy. Because these are not really visions for a radical democracy, not for an inclusive democracy. Demanding this kind of things that you give subsidies to this, we have very clearly seen. These are capitalistic development models.
जो आपने कहा ना कि ये माओवादी जब काफी राजी हो गए हैं, everywhere you see, once you get into power, the elites always co-opt. Everywhere in the world, you get co-opted. This is a phenomenon that is repeated again and again. दूसरी बात, this is an observation. दूसरी बात मैंने आपसे कही थी कि जैसे हमारे जो पहाड़ी इलाके हैं, सिक्किम, उत्तराखंड वगैरह, वहाँ पर जैविक खेती अब शुरू हो रही है। तो इसलिए फर्टिलाइजर तो वैसे भी अगर आप देखेंगे कि काफ़ी समय इस्तेमाल करा तो सॉइल जो है ख़त्म हो जाएगा। तो जैविक खेती शुरू कर रहे हैं आपके लिए। तीसरी बात, there are tussle that is taking place between president, the party and the PM. इस विषय पर क्या कुछ और गहराई में, और इसी तरह
PM and the president.
और इसी तरह ये प्रचंडा और भट्टाराय इनके आपस में जो है, और एक तीसरा भी आ गया है, which is even more radical than the earlier radical this thing.
Kiran or Vaidya.
Yes, yes. अच्छा, दो other observation what you are saying, ये हो रहा है, this rural-urban divide is taking place almost all over, and that is part of this problem. And the other thing is that a lot of things, once they come in, the knowledge will come, it becomes, और एक दफा Constituent Assembly में आ गए हैं, Kathmandu में आ गए हैं, lot of things automatically become Kathmandu centric.
Thank you for your queries. First of all, regarding reservation, whether we can have kind of inclusive Constituent Assembly in the future as well. You see, yes, in a way it was very inclusive, but once it failed to bring new constitution, for those who were not that much enthusiastic to have kind of inclusive this Constituent Assembly, they say, you see, you recruited all new people without any knowledge and etc., without any expertise. That is why we couldn't bring new constitution. That is what is very prominently coming white inside Nepal. So even parties, you see, right from Maoist to this Congress, they try to introspect like this. Because in a way, once that Constituent Assembly becomes inclusive, it has challenged kind of elitist approach. It has challenged kind of aristocratic approach. That is why, again, as I mentioned, those aristocrats may argue, saying that the failure is due to inefficient member of the Constituent Assembly. That is why my doubt is there. Second, yes, Somyaji, you are very right. These are not kind of radical apparatus, whatever, I mean, radical things, visions, whatever we are talking. But I am giving kind of example. Even within this capitalist model, what is the government's preference? The other day, just before I flown to this Calcutta, I had a chat with the former Vice President of the Planning Commission regarding this fertilizer and etc. His argument was, I asked him why you stopped this subsidy and made these people unhappy. He said, we didn't have fund. We didn't have that much fund. That is why it was not that much viable to subsidize it. And I asked him, had you thought about alternative? You are the one, your government people, you send your JTA, government employee, to the farmer, which was having his virgin land with organic farming, and suggested him to utilize this chemical fertilizer so that your production would be doubled, tripled, etc., etc. That is why people had kind of temptation to go for this fertilizer. That is why you had to manage a big amount of money to subsidize this. But have you thought alternative, saying that, oh, this is not good idea. If you have virgin land, to go for this organic fertilizer, then you continue with this. This will be eventually harmful for you. Kind of social movement, or at least government would have said that. Then you would increase the subsidy, decrease the subsidy amount automatically. Have you thought of it? And he couldn't remember. He couldn't even understand. Later on realize that yes, it would have been good idea, but we didn't thought of at that time. So in a way, even your question, sir, we try to initiate couple of this organic farming. Obviously, it is kind of this larger project over there in global south nowadays, and many people started going for that. But government attempt is almost zero. Almost zero. They feel like it is different kind of thing. They need more production. They want to show that, oh, once you utilize this chemical fertilizers, your production has gone to double, triple, and etc. Why don't you go for that? I don't think that they try to understand this thing. That is the problem. And I think I try to address your thing as well. About this tussle between Prime Minister, parties and this thing, President, parties and Prime Minister. In a way, yes, there is tussle, but the date of the Constituent Assembly, I would argue, was kind of consensus decision, because they thought of in a way, in a different way. If there is constitution through this process, then it was very difficult for all the players to accept it. For Maoists, whatever they used to say, they wouldn't have, they won't, I mean, even kind of, yes, ethnic federalism and etc. I don't think that they will have that kind of constitution, because they were not the largest. I mean, they were the largest, they were not having kind of composition for the constitution, for bringing new constitution. Obviously, other parties were in a margin. For example, Congress was having only 20%, less than 20% seat. UML was having similar kind of seat. So Maoist was having 38%, but not even 50%. That is why, and obviously, as Vijayji mentioned, this ethnic federalism became very, very, very dominant issue just because this Constituent Assembly was dead. And neither Maoists wanted it, nor other parties wanted it, but Maoists went with this very populist sentiment, just to sabotage this Constituent Assembly process. But what they had done, this Maoist, at least Prime Minister had kind of planned what to do in the next future. But others, even President, I don't think that he was having planned. That is why kind of this transition has prolonged today. That is my sense. That is my view. Maybe we can discuss about this. But what difficulty Prime Minister is having? Obviously, since he came all the way from the constitutional process, he is having this upper hand. Obviously, that is true. But he is facing difficulty because he has opted couple of unconstitutional things while declaring this election. Because our constitution, has no provision to go for next Constituent Assembly election. What he would have done would be, before declaring election, he would go for this amendment of the Constitution. Then there would be no problem. That is why, in a way, whatever has been declared by the Prime Minister for new election, that is unconstitutional in a way. Because legality also matters while you are in the government and etc. At least Prime Minister should follow Constitution. One. And next, as I mentioned, initially our Constitution said that our Constituent Assembly election, the tenure of the Constituent Assembly would be for 2 years. But after a couple of amendments, what they amended, they just amended this tenure. That is why if you read our Constitution today, Constituent Assembly tenure would be for 4 years. So that was another complication. Because the amended, if we have election, Constituent Assembly election, what would be the tenure? Whether we go for 4 years, because according to parties, they have done 90% of the work. And for 10% of the work, whether we have Constituent Assembly for 4 years, that is another technical matter. And third, you see, according to the Indian Constitution, it states that those who cross 18 years of age in 2007 December are only eligible to vote for the Constituent Assembly, because it was made at that time. That is why Constitution said like this. That is why it is very difficult whether to, exclude those youth who crossed this 80 years after 2007, 18 years after 2000, because that is kind of their right as well. And it is very big number, because I think Nepal is the one, in South Asia, who is having the largest population of youth this time. So maybe 20 lakh youth would be excluded in voting if we follow this constitution. That is why amendment of the constitution will be very, very poor issue before going to the election. And who has right to amend the constitution is very problematic. And obviously, if law, then it would be very easy to amend. But amending constitution is very challenging unless you have parliament who would have this right to amend the constitution. Because Prime Minister, while declaring this new election, in a way, he dissolved this parliament. So that is kind of complication. Many people didn't thought of about this. But while going, if revolution, then you can just trace your constitution and go for it. But in a regular process, constitution matters. Legal thing also matters. That is one problem. That is why then but our constitution, because it is Indian constitution, has provided kind of this compromising mechanism as well. It has talked about all-party mechanism. If there is all-party consensus, then even constitutional amendment could be done. That is what one flexible criteria we are having. That is why President is trying to go for this amendment. That is why he called consensus party. Always he consults parties and try to bring them together so that everything would go well. But till today, that is very difficult time for President as well. If leaders are there in front of him, they say, we are coming next day with consensus. But once they vanish from there, they never appear unless Prime Minister again calls. That is what is being happened. Maybe today also Prime Minister and this President has called this all-party meeting, and I don't know what happens. But more difficult for Prime Minister was, he had given date, new election date for November, and it has already failed. He has already failed to do it. And he has again given deadline for the office. And till date, neither Nepal could amend constitution nor Nepalese parties had kind of consensus. That is why I don't think that Prime Minister can hold this Constituent Assembly election. More than that, again, we are not having regular parliamentary elections. In that, even you can, government can do, even if there are a couple of parties saying we won't attend this election, we won't take part in this election. But since we are having Constituent Assembly election, I think we have to have consensus to go for this as well. That is why that is the third problem Nepal is facing today. Regarding this Bhattrai versus Prachanda, it is very interesting. This Prachanda was very much cautious about Bhattrai from the day one. Before they have gone for this, the People's War. If you follow their literature, always Prachanda's hints was about Baburam Bhattrai. Initially he used to say, he is very bookish, he has gone through this PhD degree and etc. I doubt whether Baburam Bhattrai can join these People's War. He started writing saying this. And he's
before the war.
Yeah. And even today, even during that People's War, he was imprisoned by his own guerrillas, etc. Baburam was imprisoned within this Maoist camp and etc. And the reason, there was this allegation and counter-allegation during the revolution. Prachanda was blamed by Baburam's followers as if he is pro-royalist, pro-Darbar. And Baburam was blamed as pro-Indian. That was the allegation and counter-allegation during this thing. And in a way, Maoists tried to play with each and every actors during their people's work, right from Darbar Palace, because Prachanda himself stated after overgrounded during his government and prime ministership, and even today he has no hesitation to say that we had tacit understanding with monarch. That is very, very open secret, not secret even. That is very
Understanding with the monarchy.
It is monarchy that raised these people.
right,
Yes.
right. And in a way I understand, you see, sometimes I theorize, I mean,
Descent within the monarchy, Gyanins who later murdered his brother and got murdered.
but how I take it, you see, monarchy was the one who had to, who was cornered along with this introduction of parliament in democracy. And that is why you see, monarchy's primary interest was to defend parliamentary democracy, obviously, and Maoist also the same. That is why enemy is friend, kind of psychology I could see. But I think what Prasanta wanted to disclose is more. He is very clear cut about it. He has very open mind on it. That is the Babu Bhattarai Prasanta thing, and eventually why Prasanta Bhattarai became Prime Minister was very interesting. Just before couple of months, Prasanta in his own in-house meeting stated to his cadre saying that India wanted, India, not only India, for him India is RAW. Raw wanted to Baburam to be the Prime Minister. That is why this transition, this failure to choose Prime Minister, that is why we failed to choose Prime Minister. But what happened eventually, all three vice presidents, including Mohan Bajaj, had a meeting.
Vice President of Maoist Party.
Had a meeting. Now he is having his own party, Mohan Bajaj. Mohan Bajaj, Narayan Kaji Shrestha, Baburam. All three groups tried to corner Prasanta, saying that you have had kind of huge amount of money. You extorted from this and that, but you didn't allow us to use this, and there are many things. Even you wanted to be the boss of the party, sidelining all. That is why we won't allow you to be the Prime Minister, but Baburam will be out of it for the future Prime Minister seat. So then you see, two vice presidents, except Baburam, were very close allies of the present. Once kind of meeting, and